news. Frank Cornito will have a look at your weekend forecast and later on a Nutmeg Sports Update. And Donna Lang will join us later to take a look back on this day in history. But first, fire departments from around the area, mostly volunteer, are being used in a phone scam to collect funds. This according to volunteers in Trumbull. Now, the Long Hill Fire District reminds its residents that the Trumbull fire departments do not make phone calls to your homes or go door to door soliciting donations. Now, if someone attempts to solicit a donation by phone or in person at your home or business, they say please notify the Trumbull Police Department or your local police department immediately. And in other news today, the Hartford Courant reports that New Milford police on Friday said they were working to establish a timeline in a rampage that left a father, daughter, baby, and another person dead, and it stretched from North Carolina to New Milford. Now, police investigators suspect that a father and daughter in an incestuous relationship died in an apparent murder-suicide early Thursday in New Milford and New York State sometime after, and their baby was found killed hundreds of miles away in North Carolina. Now, 20-year-old Katie Pladell and her birth father, 45-year-old Stephen Pladell, had been accused of having an incestuous relationship by police in Virginia. Now, their 7-month-old son, Bennett, was found dead when police visited Stephen Pladell's North Carolina home Thursday at 9 a.m. after getting a call from Stephen Pladell's mother. Well, a police source told the Hartford Courant that the suspected shooter, Stephen Pladell, fired dozens of rounds from an AR-15 into a vehicle that was occupied by Katie Pladell and her adoptive father in New Milford. Now, the woman's adoptive father, Anthony Fusco of Wingdale, New York, was killed alongside Katie Pladell. Now, police say they discovered a gun in Stephen Pladell's Honda Odyssey when he was found dead in Dover, New York. Now, New Milford detectives continue to investigate the shocking case with help from the Knightdale, North Carolina police and New York police. And Hearst, Connecticut media reports that last Thursday afternoon in Stamford, a tense chase ended when police caught 2 men with 3 stolen guns at a Glenbrook elementary school. Now, Police Captain Richard Conklin said that officers in the Narcotics and Organized Crime Squad received a tip last Thursday afternoon about a car that was transporting stolen guns in the Glenbrook Road area. Well, the Hearst, Connecticut paper reports that the driver took off when officers tried to pull over that car. Conklin said one of the occupants then jumped out and ran carrying a backpack toward Julia A. Stark Elementary School. Well, Conklin said officers caught up with 21-year-old Daquan Wright, who had thrown the backpack over a fence. Now, Conklin said police found a 9mm Ruger semi-automatic pistol, a 7-shot Ruger .357 revolver, and a Smith & Wesson 5-shot .38 caliber revolver, along with some marijuana inside that backpack. Now, Conklin said, "We are very proud of the fact that we were able to obtain this intel, act on it in a very prudent and reasonable manner, and then stop what could have been a very dangerous situation with some young men bent on criminality with a host of handguns." Now, police determined that the guns had not been reported missing or stolen. Investigators found the owner, who thought he was still in possession of those guns, but Conklin said he discovered that they were missing when he checked his home. Now, Conklin said investigators are still trying to determine how the guns were stolen. And after an investigation revealed that the rate at which Eversource, New England's largest energy provider, has disconnected customers from electricity for non-payment has nearly doubled in the last 2 years, U.S. Senator Chris Murphy has called on the Connecticut Public Utilities Regulatory Authority, or PURA, to examine Eversource's actions. Now, in a letter addressed to Kate S. Dykes, chair of PURA, Murphy expressed concern that Eversource may not be doing enough outreach to their low-income customers. Now, last year, Eversource filed documents with PURA to request a rate increase starting in May 2018. Now, according to PURA, Eversource made 28,851 disconnections in 2015 and then over 52,000 disconnections in 2017. That's an almost 100% increase. More on that story at askpatuck.news. And a former substitute teacher is charged with supervising a student fight club at a Connecticut high school, according to the AP. Now, police say cell phone videos show 23-year-old Ryan Fish encouraging students as they slap each other in the middle of a classroom at Montville High School. Now, Fish pleaded not guilty on Thursday to charges including reckless endangerment and risk of injury to a minor. Now, he is denied facilitating the fights and says he thought the students were just being rambunctious. Now, Fish was fired in October, and police began investigating in December after a student told a social worker that he had been beaten at school. Well, Superintendent Brian Levesque tells the Day of New London newspaper that he did not alert police after firing Fish because he knew of only one fight and thought that it was an isolated incident. All right, taking a turn now, let's get a look at your forecast with Frank Granito. Frank, it's feeling pretty warm out there.
Finally feeling warm, Kate, as temperatures are going to be up around 70 degrees today. Expected high of 69. Could teeter up over at 70, 71. We'll have a mix of sun and clouds throughout the day and into this afternoon. Tonight, a little mild out, a low of 53. Partly cloudy skies, and then heading into tomorrow, it should be even warmer. A high of 73 expected around Fairfield County. Partly sunny skies, a little breezier out. Wind gusts at 15 miles per hour. This is where it gets tricky, though, so enjoy this next 2 days while it lasts. Cooler out Saturday night, on and off periods of rain and drizzle. A low of 39 degrees, going to feel more like 30. And then chilly on Sunday, temperatures in the low 40s with a mix of rain and drizzle, much colder compared to the next 2 days. So enjoy it while it lasts, but it does seem like we are finally breaking out of this never-ending winter, Kate.
All right, we're getting there. All right, thanks so much, Frank. And we are going to step out for a break. Come back. Donald Ng will take a look back on this day in history. Frank has your Nutmeg Sports Update, and we have more local news after this.
Get a fresh start to the new year by shaking up your meal routine. Walter Stewart's Market is your local source for a delicious selection of fresh and convenient salad shakers, like Southwest salad with chicken, Cobb with organic chicken, Power Vegan with fruit and quinoa, Greek salad with tabbouleh, and grilled shrimp with hominy. Grab one from our salad case or order from our deli today. Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street, New Canaan, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
Dr. Stephen Molinaro and Peter Healy of Family Practice Dentistry and Laser Dental Care have served Ridgefield for over 22 years. Experienced staff offer gentle drillless techniques, preventative care, and cosmetic procedures in a relaxed environment. Grateful for the community's trust and support through the years, new patients and their families are welcome. Call today.
I've had Newtown Savings Bank my whole life. You don't have to worry about talking to a machine. You're talking to real people. You're getting real help. I'm banking local, and I'm loving it.
Welcome back to this April 13th edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. Time to take a look back on this day in history with Donald Ng. Don.
Well, we're going to go artistic today, starting with 1742. George Frederick Handel's oratorio Messiah makes its world premiere in Dublin, Ireland. It's one of the most well-known oratoria in history, especially the Hallelujah chorus that ends part 2. Today, it's performed almost exclusively around Christmas time, but Handel actually wrote it as an Easter piece. It's also almost never performed in full because it would be a punishing 3+ hours. There also is no such thing as a complete performance of Messiah, since Handel revised it continually for the rest of his life, so you can go see it every Christmas and never see the same concert twice. 1870, now the New York Metropolitan Museum of Art is founded by an act of the New York legislature. Originally housed in a Manhattan mansion, that's it right there, the Met did not move to its current location until 1880. That 1880 location has been expanded 12 times since then, now consisting of more than 20 structures in a quarter-mile long exterior building. It draws about 7 million visitors each year, the world's second most visited art museum behind only the Louvre. 1943, the Jefferson Memorial dedicated in Washington, D.C. on what would have been Jefferson's 200th birthday. The 14-foot bronze statue of Jefferson would not be added until 1947. The memorial, one of the most scenic spots in Washington, D.C., also gives a scenic view of the Tidal Basin and the White House from the top step. And if you want to see it looking like it does in that photo, get in the car today, actually. The Cherry Blossom Festival ends on Sunday. Finally, now we go to 1997, 21 years ago for this.
The golfer finally, and let's see what he can do. And Augusta was a place where he could let it out.
I thought I could win that week, and everything was just trending in the right direction. So yeah, I really did feel like I could do well there, and I really did feel like if I played a clean tournament that I really could win.
21-year-old Tiger Woods winning the Masters by 12 strokes, and 41-year-old Tiger Woods talking about it. In that one tournament, he became the youngest and first non-white Masters winner, also had the best score, largest margin of victory, and highest television ratings in Masters history. That is your look back in history for today, April 13th, and I'm Donald Ng.
All right, thanks so much, Don. Well, in other local news, State Representative Joe Gresko of Stratford led debate on a bill to ban the harvesting or killing of horseshoe crabs between Stratford Point and Sniffin Point in Stratford. Now, horseshoe crab blood is vital to manufacturing vaccines, and the bill was unanimously approved by the State House of Representatives. Now, Representative Gresko said in part, if you ever get a vaccine, thank a horseshoe crab. He said it's important that we take steps to protect them because ultimately they will protect us from illnesses. Now, in addition to spawning sites on Short Beach also need protection because of Sacred Heart University's ongoing research on horseshoe crabs. Now, by 2020, that bill will require the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection to submit recommendations to the Environment Committee establishing some restricted areas for horseshoe crab harvesting and any changes to the horseshoe crab harvesting season. Now, these recommendations are intended to preserve Connecticut's horseshoe crab population. And in other Stratford news, the town will bring a new person aboard to help with improving economic development in town. Now, the Stratford Town Council voted on Monday to approve the creation of an economic and community development coordinator. Now, among the tasks of that new part-time position are to work with the supervisor of economic development and the Arts Commission to promote artistic and cultural activities, as well as events that promote Stratford businesses. Now, the person will also work on implementing some online marketing strategies through social media accounts in order to create, maintain, and promote a strong online presence for town events. Much more on that story at stratfordstar.com. And in other news, opportunity, possibility, and impact will be the focus of the Kennedy Center's 67th Annual Awards Dinner and Annual Meeting on Thursday, April 19th at the Bridgeport Holiday Inn. Now, the social hour will begin at 6 p.m., followed by dinner, the annual meeting, and awards at 7 p.m. Now, Richard E. Sebastian Jr. of Shelton, the new president and CEO of the Kennedy Center, will be the keynote speaker. Now, he'll be addressing the importance of honoring the Kennedy Center legacy while embracing its future. Now, Sebastian was appointed the new president and CEO of the Kennedy Center on January 2nd, and he comes to the center with more than 30 years of experience in the developmental disabilities sector. Now, the awards dinner and annual meeting also recognizes and pays tribute to those who have made outstanding personal achievements or significant contributions to people with disabilities. Other annual awards will also be announced that evening. The accomplishments of area employers, volunteers, staff, and persons with disabilities will also be recognized. Now, tickets for that awards dinner are $50 per person, and you can register online at thekennedycenter.org or just call 203-365-8522. There's also more details on all of our HAN network news sites. And the state's Department of Energy and Environmental Protection is asking residents to help to keep track of the state's bobcat population. Now, resident sightings help the department better understand how many of the wildcats roam the state and where they live. Now, those who share a bobcat sighting should include the date of the sighting, the location, and the town where the animal was spotted, as well as the number of bobcats seen and whether any of those animals appear to have ear tags or collars that are used to monitor the population. region. Now, residents can email their sightings along with any photos to dep.ctwildlife@ct.gov. They can also share those sightings on the Fish and Wildlife Facebook page, and the observations may also be recorded using the iNaturalist app, which is available for free for Apple and Android devices. More on that at theridgefieldpress.com. But let's throw it back over to Frank Granito now for your Nutmeg Sports Update. Frank.
Thank you, Kate. Yesterday we were live at Taft Field on the campus of Fairfield Ludlow High School. Boys lacrosse in the state of Connecticut as the Falcons played host to the Conard Chieftains. A slow start in this one as it was 2-2 at the end of the first quarter and just 4-2. The Falcons' advantage at the half, but they would open it up in the third quarter. Both Aiden Wyckoff and Oliver Lay, the juniors, combining for 5 points in the victory as they would go on and take down Conard by a final score of 12-8. Let's take a look back at the highlights from yesterday's win.
Shaking free O'Connor, crossing over in the right slot, and he scores! Little serp to Kleinbeck, and behind the net to Quinn Thompson. Wyckoff and Thompson playing catch. Thompson scores. The stick has been fixed, but at the moment, Matthew Kelleher is assuming his role with the offensive unit. Lay cutting through the middle, buying time, and he goes upstairs. O'Connor trying to slip away from Owens, and he's able to do so and score. One check, the double team comes.
We're inside the final minute.
Going out towards the front of the net, taking the pass and able to finish was Anders Kleinbeck.
So the Falcons now 2-1 on the season. Will continue on next week looking for their first win in FCIAC play, both wins coming out of conference. Other games around the conference yesterday. Trumbull with a big win over Brian McMahon, 20-2. Staples now 6-0 on the young season. They defeated Norwalk by a score of 18-2, and a huge win for the Wilton Warriors, who bounced back after a tough loss against New Canaan. They take down out-of-state team Fordham Prep 9-8 in double overtime. That's going to do it for this Nutmeg Sports Update. For now, we will send it back over to Kate.
All right, thanks so much, Frank. And we're going to step out for a break, come back, and recap some of the top stories we're following today after this.
Voted Best Gourmet to Go in Fairfield County, Palmer's extensive menu offers everything you'll need to make your next event easy and delicious. Whether you're hosting a small get-together or planning a large celebration, they've got you covered breakfast through dessert. Order online at palmersdarien.com or call 203-655-2077.
Welcome back to this Friday edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, recapping some of the top stories we're following today. Now, fire departments from around the region, mostly volunteer, are reportedly being used in a phone scam to collect money. Now, this according to volunteers in Trumbull. Now, the Long Hill Fire District reminds its residents that the Trumbull fire departments do not make phone calls to your homes or go door-to-door soliciting donations. Now, if someone attempts to solicit a donation by phone or in person at your house or business, you should notify the Trumbull Police Department or your local police department immediately. More on that story at TrumbullTimes.com. And the Hartford Courant reports that New Milford Police Friday said they were working to establish a timeline in a crime that left a father daughter, baby, and another person dead in a rampage that stretched from North Carolina to New Milford. Now, police investigators suspect that a father and daughter in an incestuous relationship died in an apparent murder-suicide early Thursday in New Milford and New York State, sometime after their baby was killed hundreds of miles away in North Carolina. Now, 20-year-old Katie Pladell and her birth father, 45-year-old Stephen Pladell, had been accused of having an incestuous relationship by police in Virginia. Now, their 7-month-old son, Bennett, was found dead when police visited Stephen Pladell's North Carolina home Thursday at 9 a.m. after getting a call from his mother. Now, a police source told the Hartford Courant that the suspected shooter, Stephen Pladell, fired dozens of rounds from an AR-15 into a vehicle that was occupied at the time by Katie Pladell and her adoptive father in New Milford. Now, the woman's adoptive father, Anthony Fusco of Wingdale, New York, was killed alongside Katie Pladell. Now, police said they discovered a gun in Stephen Pladell's Honda Odyssey when he was found dead in Dover, New York. Now, New Milford detectives continue to investigate the shocking case with help from police in Knightdale, North Carolina, and New York. And Hearst, Connecticut media reports that last Thursday afternoon in Stamford, a tense chase ended when police caught 2 men with 3 stolen guns at a Glenbrook elementary school. Now, Police Captain Richard Conklin said that officers in the Narcotics and Organized Crime Squad received a tip last Thursday afternoon about a car that was transporting stolen guns in the Glenbrook Road area. Now, the Hearst, Connecticut media paper reports that the driver took off when officers tried to pull over that car, and one of those occupants jumped out and ran carrying a backpack toward Julia Stark Elementary School. Well, Conklin said officers caught up to 21-year-old Daquan Wright, who had thrown the backpack over a fence. Now, Conklin said inside, police found a 9mm semi-automatic pistol, a 7-shot Ruger 357 revolver, and a Smith & Wesson 5-shot 38 caliber revolver, along with some marijuana inside of that bag. Now, Conklin said, "We are very proud of the fact that we were able to obtain this intel, act on it in a very prudent and reasonable manner, and then stop what could have been a very dangerous situation with some young men bent on criminality with a host of handguns." Now, police determined that the guns had not been reported missing or stolen, and investigators found that the owner, who thought he was still in possession of those guns, but Conklin said he discovered that they were missing when he checked his home. Now, Conklin said investigators are still trying to determine how those guns were stolen. And in other news, after an investigation revealed that the rate at which Eversource, New England's largest energy provider, has disconnected customers from electricity for non-payment has nearly doubled in the last 2 years, U.S. Senator Chris Murphy has called on the Connecticut Public Utilities Regulatory Authority to examine Eversource's actions. Now, in a letter addressed to Katie Dykes, chair of PURA, Murphy expressed some concerns that Eversource may not be doing enough outreach to their low-income customers. Last year, Eversource filed documents with PURA to request a rate increase starting in May 2018. Now, according to PURA, Eversource made over 28,000 disconnections in 2015 and over 52,000 disconnections in 2017. That's an almost 100% increase. More on that story at aspatuck.news. But all right, let's get one final look at your weekend forecasts with Frank Granito. Frank.
All right, thanks again, Kate. We're looking at a warmer day around Fairfield County, a mix of sun and clouds throughout the afternoons. You get a look outside at Route 8 right now. High of 69 expected today. We could see possibly a passing drizzle shower as well before around 1 o'clock. Mild overnight, partly cloudy with a low of 53. Warmer again tomorrow as temperatures possibly jump up into the low 70s with partly sunny skies. Going to start to get real cool overnight, though. We'll have on and off periods of rain and drizzle with a low around 39. Going to feel more like 30 and colder out on Sunday. A high of 42, if you can even call it that, with rain and drizzle scattered throughout the afternoon. Kate, enjoy the next 2 days.
All right, I will try to do that.
It does not look good to start next week.
All right, thanks so much, Frank. And we are going to wrap things up here on your coffee break. Of course, we will be back Monday at 11 with the latest local news, sports, and more. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the nice weather.